Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It's midnight here in my place.
Yeah, no worries. What questions do you have?
Oh, okay, okay. Okay. First of all, I have some certain questions on the models. Like when we are doing um taking out some model like the random forest, linear regression. How do we know the model is right and the model is wrong? Sometimes we might get a good accuracy score. So how do we know if the model is right or the model is wrong?
Are you talking about if we know it's right or wrong outside of the accuracy score?
Yes, outside of the accuracy score, or sometimes there's something I learned on your page. And we do hyperparameter tuning that you taught us about hyperparameter tuning using grid search CV, like to example method to make use of different models. So, like, is it from the hyperparameter tuning? Like, how do we know which model is right or okay for the given problem?
Yeah. Yeah, so you definitely so the first thing you want to do is you want to understand first off what is the task you're trying to accomplish with the
Okay.
data set. Are you trying to classify the text? Are you trying to predict the value? Um, are you trying to categorize things? Are you trying to cluster? So first off, you want to start with just what is the task that you're trying to accomplish, and that should allow you first to segment a lot of the models out, because a lot of the models are built just for specific purposes. They're built just to classify, they're built just to predict the value, they're built just to categorize text. You definitely want to start
Yeah.
there. Once you have a good feel for this is my data set, this is sort of the realm of the models that we can use, then you can start to choose some different ones. And I will say there isn't a single way to understand which model is best for your task until you try them. But what I always recommend is, for a specific model, try to do a little bit of research around if that model has been used for that task. See if there's research papers that were written, see if there's stuff on Kaggle. Try to see if, hey, has somebody else already done this specific task with this model? And if they have, and you like the results that they got, then you kind of have your answer there. Like, then you kind of have a pretty good starting place for that. If they haven't, you'll want to see if some maybe similar tasks have been done with that model. You might want to see if like the same domain or the same data type or something like that has been done. If you can't find anything with that, then maybe you do want to start to explore some of the other models, because if somebody else hasn't at least tried it and gotten some sort of result, you might not want to start there. You might want to see, okay, well, let's try some of the other models and see if people have done it before with stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend looking at scikit-learn, because they do a good job of kind of like categorizing models into groups and laying out all the options they have for that model or for that use case. And then it makes it easy to just try the different ones, because they've done a really good job of kind of like categorizing them together. Let me send you a link to like a good example of that. Yeah, this is a good example. So let's say you were trying to do clustering. Let me put this in the Discord chat. Let's say you were trying to do clustering. You've already figured out that you're trying to do clustering. They make it really easy in that, you can see they've got a whole bunch of options laid out there. They have an overview of the clustering methods. They have an idea of what the use cases are. They have an idea of the scalability. So they should give you some idea of what the options are that you can test. If you can't find, through your own research, what people have done with the similar data sets that you're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's making sense. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So and again, concerning, as a data scientist, there are problems not all machine learning can solve, because I do watch YouTube videos of data scientists talking about how to approach the problem. Some says not all machine learning algorithms or models work. Example, like trying to do an A/B testing or some kind of customer lifetime values. And what I want to ask again is, what type of data set, like how many rows of data sets do we need for us to be able, for us to perform a machine learning algorithm on a data set? Because some people are saying that we need like maybe 5,000. I hope you can hear me. My English is not bad.
Yeah.
Okay, because some people say we can use like 5,000, and some people are saying that maybe 1,000 data sets is important. And Matt Ryan on his YouTube, sometimes he make use of 200 data sets for practice, on his YouTube page. So, he always tells us that it's just for us to, like, it's just a tutorial. So maybe when we are approaching it in the real world, we have like thousands of data sets. So how many like data sets do we need? Like what type of numbers do we need for us to perform?
Yeah. So there isn't, unfortunately, there isn't a one stop answer to how large your data set should be. It's very use case specific. It's very model specific. What I will tell you, what I like to do is I like to look at the test data set and figure out if the test data set is big enough and if it's a good representation of what we're trying to do with the use case. So a good example would be, let's say you have a data set of 100 rows, right?
Yeah.
And you split it out into 80% training, 20% test. So you have 20 rows in your test data set, and you fine tune the model with the training set and you get some sort of results. What you want to do is you want to look at the test data set and figure out, is this a good representation of my use case, right? Is there enough diversity in my data set? What stuff did it get right? What stuff did it get wrong? What is my accuracy score on my test set? The idea of how good my model is all driven on the test data. So I would focus much more on, are my results good? I would think about it like, are my results good for my test data set, right? And that's going to mean very different things if you have 100 rows versus 100,000 rows, right? Like that's going to be two very different things, because what you'll probably see is that when your data set is smaller, you're going to have less diversity in your data set. A lot of the rows are going to look the same. There's just not enough data to create a very diverse test data set. And so you will see that as you grow your data set, the reason why people use larger and larger data sets is because you get to see more samples of the data. You get to see the edge cases. You get to see the different variations in the data. I would say, you're going to want to focus a lot. I would say it's going to be hard to create data that makes a model really impressive with under 1,000 rows. I just think that's going to be hard to do. Now, if your use case is very easy, right? Like here's a better way to put it. Let's say you were doing text classification and you have two classes, right? Maybe 1,000 rows is perfectly fine because you only have two classes. There's only two options, So like if you have 200 rows, that's probably pretty fine. But let's say you have 10 classes Then if you had that same only 1,000 rows, your test data set would only have 20 rows per class. Like, that's not very good. That one you might need more like 5,000, 10,000. So it's very specific to the data that you see in the test data set and the amount of sample diversity that you want to showcase that your results are able to do. And you can see a lot of that with precision, recall, and F1 score when you
Yeah.
actually look at your test data set. So it's going to be very driven on the use case. That's another benefit of when you're looking at your use case and you're seeing what other people have done in a similar use case with the model, you get to see how large their data sets are. So it gives you a pretty good idea of kind of what people are doing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I understand. Yeah. So, can I ask another question since nobody is asking?
Yeah,
So,
keep going.
oh, okay. So, I'm currently working on a project with a professor here in our country. We are trying to use machine learning to predict crop yield in plants in agriculture, machine learning in agriculture. So he did it on he formulated the model, but the model was not related to machine learning. Mine was to just code it and predict the crop yield. I make use of linear regression, gradient boosting, random forest regressor, and k nearest neighbors. But I did the course, but it was giving me a low mean something mean deviation. I've forgotten that metric, mean absolute deviation or mean, you understand. But it was
Mhm.
giving me a low one. So I even had to plot heat map using SNS to show the correlation, that this
Nice.
is a weak correlation. Yes. So it was not really given, but he told me he will get back to me. And that was the reason why I asked about, can a 1,000 data set be enough? Because the data sets those farmers sent to us, it was 1,000. That was why.
Oh, you said it was 1,000 rows.
Yes.
Is it text data?
No, 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 no. Everything is numerical
How
data.
many how many how many columns do you have?
Let me say the columns. One thing I learned from Matwayan is removing the place of features that is not needed. So there are some features that were not really important. Even everything in that features was 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So I figured out that it was only zero. I had to remove some features, and I guess I worked with four features or five features. Five features. I worked with five features. That is the columns. Let's say five columns.
What was your accuracy score after you did it?
My accuracy score was like, it was negative. Let me say negative. Yeah, it was not really given like that.
1,000 rows. How big was your test data set?
My test, I did 80 to 20, but when I did 70 to 30, it was a bit positive. But it wants to publish it on a journal, because we want to publish a paper. So he said we have to work with 80 to 20, but the 80 to 20 was not really giving us what we need. So we are still working on the data to get more data to see what we can do again.
Have you sorry. Interesting. Well, it being negative is odd. I would like to kind of see what that looks like because I'm surprised that you got. I don't really know how you did that. That's
Can I,
kind of interesting.
after the meeting, can I send the PDF? The PDF I sent to the lecturer, can I send it to the group, Discord group, for you to take a look
Did
at it?
you
Like,
did you put it in Discord?
yeah?
Did you put the
I did not,
PDF?
no, I did not put it on Discord, but after the call, after the meeting, I'll put it on Discord for you to go through it.
Yeah, yeah. A thou. You said you have like 4 to 5 features. They're all numerical.
Yes, they are all numerical, no categorical.
And you used random forest and
Yes,
what else?
random forest regressor, gradient boosting, linear regression. The linear regression was multilinear regression and k nearest neighbors. Even the best performing one was the random forest regressor, but it was still the accuracy was still very, very low.
Yeah, I would like to see. I would like to see that PDF. I'm curious. I actually don't mind any part of your approach. I really don't. 1,000 is fine. You only have 4 to 5 features. They're all numeric. I don't mind your approach. Are you just trying? You're just trying to predict the value, right? Like you're not
Yes, yes,
classifying. You're just
we are
predicting.
trying to predict the value. I did the actual after everything. I did the actual and the predicted value. I plotted a graph to show the linear regression graph to show the actual and the predicted, but it was nowhere near. The deviation was large. Somewhere, what if it's predicted 5,000 because in our country we use naira as our currency. So if it predicted 5,000, the actual will be like 3,000. So there was a bit of inconsistency in the results.
It's actually not. Yeah, yeah. Send me the PDF. I honestly want to look at it a little bit because
Oh, okay.
I don't mind
Okay.
your approach. I really don't. I really don't. Random forest is fine. Regression, right? You're using regression.
Yes, I use
Yeah.
regression. Yeah.
I don't mind it. Is the data time series based?
No, it's not time series based. It's just a
Yeah.
normal data. It's just a normal data.
Yeah, I kind of want to see it. I don't mind your approach. I really don't.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so
Yeah.
I have one more final question. So concerning my area now, I'm trying to look for an internship, but it's very, very limited here because most people in my country, most of them are full stack developers. I started with front end web development, but I had to drop it because of I was studying mathematics. I majored in mathematics at the university. So I decided to pursue data science because I have more mathematical knowledge in some areas. So it was easy for me to transition. But right now, I'm trying to look for internship. Like we've done a lot of reading so to prepare myself for interview, but it's really hard to get anyone here. I was even trying to see maybe I could get one. I've been looking for in the United States, maybe remote. You know, there are some there's a time zone EMEA, maybe for people that accept EMEA workers like remote and Europe, or I've not really been seeing, even though it's an internship that is not paid. I just want to see how they solve actual real life problem with their data. So it should give me an edge also. So because my area for I'm trying to do a master's in optimization and machine learning. So I'm still trying to pick a school in the United States for research and stuff like that. I joined a meeting in UC Berkeley, California. There was a meeting on machine learning. The professor was talking about the area of research. So I was interested, but you know, if you haven't shown them that you work with an organization or a company, that you have that much needed knowledge. So they need experience, and experience is
Yeah.
what I'm looking for. So even the experience I have is on operations because I currently work with a startup here in Ghana. I stay in Nigeria, but I work remotely with a startup in Ghana. It's a software as a service startup. But what we offer also is all this web development and mobile app development, but they don't do machine learning. We haven't started machine learning and data science offerings to our clients. So I'm still trying to like leave the role and secure a data science job because I'm really frustrated. All the years of learning and trying to gather information on doing this, doing that is looking like it's not really that paying off.
You you should reach out to. Let me send you. Where is that? You should reach out to this guy. I know that he is looking. I'll send you two. They're both looking for interns
Okay,
for AI projects. I assume they would be paid. I've worked with them before. Everything's been paid. Um,
okay,
one of them is in Africa and one is in India. I think I'm right about that. They're actually both
okay.
doing some pretty interesting stuff. All of it
Yeah,
fine tuning models. All of it's fine tuning model related.
Fine-tuning models. I've not really worked on fine-tuning models. I'm still, even right now, I'm still trying to like learn the core aspect of neural network. You know, neural network is one of the deep understanding of deep learning and natural language processing. So I'm still trying to understand the theoretical aspect, because one thing about me, before I learn the practicality, I always want to learn the theoretical aspect, like the mathematics behind it. So it will be easy to explain and give out recommendations.
Well, they would need, you could work a lot on the data side as well, because
Oh,
those do
okay.
require, of course, a lot of data. Um, I would definitely recommend reaching out to them and chatting about, what you're looking for on that front, because they're it seems like always hiring people. I just put two LinkedIn's in chat. I would definitely check
Okay.
that out.
Can you let me see, maybe I can check it from the chat. Let me see. Info message. Oh, okay. I was thinking maybe if you can, will I, after the video call, can I still check back to the chat, or it will, once we are done with the video, I can't go back to the link again, like they are linked to the LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, I can still come back and check the message. Like, you sent a link now. Can I still check it after the meeting is done so that I can connect with them on link?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I'm really grateful for the help and support.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you have any other questions, of course, feel free to put them in the chat, in Discord or
Okay,
anything like that. I'll be on here until
okay.
3 o'clock working on some stuff.
Okay. Do you run like any it takes people for mentorship? Because I might look, I'm 21, so I'm not that old. Maybe because of there's no light here. The light is not really bright, though there's light actually, but the light is not really bright enough. So I'm 21, but I want to know, maybe you take students like mentorship, like if there's always a new knowledge in the field of tech, like you mentor them, this is what is really happening. Like one of my friend I know, he used Hugging Face, but I haven't he has gone ahead of me in his career as a machine learning engineer. He's doing a pretty great stuff with Hugging Face, like trying to create data sets for mostly African countries. They don't really have enough data to work with for advancement in technology. So that is one of the areas that's why we are trying to learn to teach the coming generation to make impact. So that's one of the reasons we are trying to learn, because we are one of the new generations trying to learn tech and trying to advance and making important contributions to the economy and everything.
Yeah,
So I want to
yeah.
I want
We
to know,
we
maybe take mentorship,
I
like
was gonna say
mentorship. You take mentorship,
we do
huh?
plan on starting that, a mentorship soon. We haven't figured out when we're gonna start it. We're still trying to, focus a lot on the YouTube videos and everything like that. But we do
Oh
plan on
yeah,
doing that.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I just got a message. I'm just looking at it.
Oh, no problem, no problem, sir. I don't. I have some questions are coming, but I'm a bit overwhelmed. I don't really know what to ask. I don't even know. Maybe there are some things you can tell me, like some experience as a data scientist. I really need to know, like when working on, when doing some stuff, because I do. After I watch Matt Ryan videos, because right now you are releasing videos on statistics. So you are releasing so after I do watch some other YouTubers talking about the data science like workspace, like some people, the interviews at Meta, Google, Amazon, like trying to talk about how a data scientist work there, stuff like that. So I just know, maybe if you have any experience, and what tools do you majorly use for your tasks?
What I use for
Like Jupyter, do you mainly use Jupyter, maybe VS Code or PyCharm? Like, what are your
oh
stacks?
um I do use VS Code, um mostly because a lot of the larger organizations require VS Code. It's also, I think it's probably the best one. I just use the community developer version. I don't pay for it or anything like that.
Okay.
So I use VS Code, of course, Python, everything like that. I do for our company, I use the cloud. I use AWS. But as you've
Yes.
probably seen in a lot of videos, I use Colab notebooks
Yes.
quite a
Google
bit.
Colab.
They're super easy to use and they're free. So I
Yeah.
do actually use those quite a bit. They make it easy to do a lot of the stuff. But when I'm local, I use Git, of course. We use GitHub. But yeah, that I would say that's generally what my stack looks like. Trying to think if there's anything else outside of that I really use. I don't
For
think
for
so.
for your cloud, you use only AWS for your cloud, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was hoping maybe any day, maybe after the statistics, you might teach us on cloud, how to use cloud. Maybe it might come in handy because I've been trying to learn cloud, but I prefer Google BigQuery. That's one I want to
Yeah.
learn. But if you teach us AWS before I learn the Google BigQuery, it will be really okay just to learn anymore, just in case. Because I used to check most jobs, they are always make sure a data scientist know how to use a cloud platform.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
But
it's
you
actually
also
not a
work with
bad idea. I think some cloud videos would actually be helpful. It's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah. Okay, but the cloud you work with, the company you work for, they are the one that like pay for it. I guess there's a payment subscription on it, like the cloud, the AWS, or it's free.
AWS does cost money. It's not subscription based, it's usage based. That's one of the
Okay.
reasons I like Colab notebooks so much is that they're free and they're actually really easy to set up. If you're just doing like standard like scripting and things like that, Collab notebooks make that really easy. But AWS does cost it's usage based, so it depends on how much usage you have and everything
Okay.
like that. That's one of the reasons why Collab notebooks are pretty nice.
Okay. And how solid should a data scientist SQL be? Because I know a bit of SQL, but I haven't really gone deep. But I know the basics and some intermediaries. So how solid should my SQL be?
I wouldn't. SQL at this point is so commoditized because of how easy it is to write queries with AI. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really. I think like becoming like a SQL expert just for the reason of being a data scientist doesn't make any sense anymore. You need to
Yeah.
know like some of the basics, but these models now, like when you go into ChatGPT and say like, "Hey, this is my schema and this is what I want to
Yes.
generate," like it's
Yes.
so good
Yes.
at doing it. Like,
Yes.
why spend a bunch of time learning it? To be honest,
Yes. Especially prompt engineering, because most times I can even tell ChatGPT this is my database. Or there was a time when I was learning, I used to tell ChatGPT to generate the database for me and give me question on CTE. So once it gave me the question on CTE and it has provided the database for me, I'll tell it to generate questions on CTE. So I was just using it to solve. And after I solve it, I'll now tell you to give me the answers to see maybe I'm correct. So ChatGPT makes it pretty easy to even learn, and even in the workspace too. Maybe the organization wants me to query something. I might just put only the columns on ChatGPT to tell me do this, do this. I don't even need to put audio data set. So it's just select this from this, where this, and
yeah.
I'll be able to get everything. Okay.
Honestly, like, and if the use case requires queries that are so complex that ChatGPT can't do it, it's probably a task for a database engineer, not a data scientist. So, like,
Okay.
honestly, like, I believe that up to the knowledge that ChatGPT has of SQL generation is plenty. Like, I really do think
Yeah.
that. I really don't think there's anything more. It's something
Yeah.
that like 4 years ago, like I would have been like, yeah, you should be good at SQL, but I wouldn't. I just wouldn't waste your time with it.
Okay. So concerning what we're discussing with ChatGPT, do you think ChatGPT will replace data science like the tax? Will it replace us like the career, like ChatGPT, the evolution of the technology? Is there a replacement for data scientists?
No, no, I think it'll make it easier. Um, but I don't think it's gonna like remove the need, because a lot of data scientists isn't just, here's data set, here's model, hit go. It's everything
Yeah,
else that you have to do around, data curation and split testing. Like there's much more to it than that. If it was true, what I tell people is, if it was so easy for ChatGPT to do it, then 6 years ago, when people were using grid search to optimize the parameters of neural networks, there would have been no need for people to tune neural networks if grid search worked so well, where you could
yeah,
just completely optimize what is the absolute best combination of parameters for an accuracy score. Then you would never need anybody to ever figure out how to train a neural network again. But that's not what happened. People figured out that like grid search is cool and like it works to get you in the right direction, but it doesn't solve all your issues. Um,
yeah,
and so I don't think that I just a lot of our customers are people that play with ChatGPT. They get like pretty good results, but then they want like an expert data scientist to actually, figure out what should actually be done. Like they use ChatGPT to like prove out kind of like what they can do, but it doesn't actually move them to production or give them the best use case. So I don't think that there's, I'm not a big believer in ChatGPT, getting rid of data scientists.
oh, okay, okay, okay. I don't have any more. Ha! I'm trying to think about the question so that I won't be regretting not asking. Trying to think. So for the link you sent to me for the people I should reach out to on LinkedIn, I should just message them, and should I tell them I'm from Matt, or I should just go forward and ask them if they are looking for interns?
Yeah, you could mention that you're in my Discord group. That'll
Oh,
that'll
okay.
put kind of like some recognition there. And yeah, just let them know that, I would let them know that you have a bachelor's degree in mathematics. I would let them know what you've been working on and that, you're looking for an internship. Like I actually think that'll work pretty well if you give them sort of like, social information about where you're coming from, what your
Yeah.
background is, and what you're working on. I actually think that would work pretty well.
Okay. 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 That's good. Okay. Okay. I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll do that. Okay. Thank you so much. If you are Matt, then who is Ryan?
Ryan also makes, he also makes the YouTube videos. I don't think he is joining today. I know he had a couple calls. But we just partnered on we know each other, and we just partnered on the YouTube channel, and we've been
Yeah.
going from there. But yeah, we know each other, and things like that.
Oh, okay.
He does
Okay,
much
because
more of the, as you've probably seen, he does much more of the statistics and things like
yeah.
that. I do more of the prompting, the LLMs, um,
Wow.
some of the things like that.
But I want to ask a question. Is deep learning isn't that hard, right? Because I'm trying to like deep learning is the next thing for me to learn right now. I still have to work on some couple of projects on time series and A/B testing. So I want to like add it to my portfolio just in case, but before I move to deep learning. So I want to know maybe deep learning and natural language processing. I want to like choose one that I will be good at. Like, should I choose the natural language processing or the deep learning aspect?
Well, most of natural language processing is a subset of deep learning, meaning that a
Okay.
lot of the things done in natural language processing use deep learning to to create the models that are used. So those will overlap a little bit. Natural language processing is kind of a specific set of things. But yeah, I mean, I would, you'll eventually get to the point where you want to start doing some of the deep learning stuff. You will notice that your data sets are going to be larger,
Yeah.
just due to the nature of the tasks.
Right.
But you are doing a, your route is definitely a good route where you sort of start with, more like machine learning models, whether that's supervised,
Yeah.
unsupervised, and stuff like that. Really get comfortable with that, really get used to the data processing that's required for that. And then you can move to some of the deep learning stuff that is a little bit more intense.
Oh, okay. 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 But what about the laptop? Because I use a laptop, but it's still okay for machine learning. I haven't really know maybe the requirements. The laptop, laptop, right? Like system. But I don't know maybe the requirement to be okay for deep learning because I'm not really that kind of a hardware person that knows about the RAM, the space. My own is just to get the laptop, put the required software and start working. So I don't really know maybe the system will be good enough for deep learning. So I'm still trying to like get a new system to able to transition, so I won't be getting problems.
Well, you could also use the Colab notebooks because they have a GPU. So
Okay,
you can do some, you can't do a ton of training in Colab notebooks just due to the speed. But you can do some because they do have a GPU. That's another nice part about Colab notebooks is that you can do that stuff. So I would definitely explore those.
okay, okay, okay. That'll be all my questions. So I'll send you the PDF and I'll reach out to those people on LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah, definitely send me the PDF in the share a project channel, and then I want to take a look at it and see if I see anything that's odd with what
Okay,
you have there. But no, that sounds good.
okay, okay. All right. Thank you so much, Matt. I'm really grateful for this opportunity to speak to you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Take it easy.
Yeah.